Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alex, my original plan was to start this podcast by asking you what the biggest lesson you learned from your week in the United Kingdom was. The MLB London series, boots on the ground in Europe, not in the European Union, but in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you what the biggest lesson you learned was, but in discussing with you before this podcast what we were going to talk about and hearing about your day, I found out that biggest lesson, and that is that maximizing airline profit is more important than anything.
Which we've known. I knew this in my heart, but I had to see it and experience it with my own eyes.
I'm just really glad to see you back in your own apartment, because for a while there, it didn't look like you were going to make it.
There were a good couple hours there where I thought I'd just be there stranded.
So what happened? They overbooked your flight?
Well, that's what they do, right? It was an overbooked flight, fully booked flight. I did not check in, right? We're not acknowledging the user error element of this whatsoever. In part because, maybe if I pay hundreds of dollars for you to fly me from one side of the world to the other, you should hold up your end of the bargain on
and
that.
Actually do it, whether or not you remember to check in.
Right.
You're not checking in. It's just come on.
So baller.
Come on. So baller. This makes you 0 for 2 on international travel, bro.
0 for 2 on international travel. Yes. Italy via Russia went splendidly.
Have we told that story on the main feed? Or is that on the Patreon feed?
I don't know.
Have we ever even said that on the podcast, or we just talk about that in real life? I don't
know. It's come up so often.
Alex came to visit me when I was studying in Italy, and he waited too long to book his flight, and the only flight that was affordable.
Are you picking up on a trend here?
The only flight that was affordable enough to actually still come was to have a layover in Moscow, right?
Mm-hmm. Moscow. Lovely place. Beautiful place, at least from the inside of the airport.
And on the way back, what happened? They put you on a bus out to the parking lot, and you thought that they were going to cap you in the back of the head?
Yeah, it was we sat on the plane for a couple hours, and then they were like, well, they would interrupt my sleep every 20 minutes to be like, the plane still isn't working. And I was like, okay, well, just let us know when it does, I guess. Right. And then after a couple hours, they said, this plane is fully not working. We're going to put you on another plane.
So you thought that they maybe saw your tweets or something, and they were like, we're going to put this guy next to the Romanovs, or what?
Right. Well, and after the plane malfunction, I wondered if maybe they were just too embarrassed to admit that something they were like, we need to get rid of the evidence. No one can know that any one of our planes ever malfunction ever.
Okay. And then, so this time around, on your way back from London, you were like, everything went too smoothly on the way here. Let me throw a couple of wrinkles in on the way home.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good that you got on. What seat did they give you? Was it favorable?
It's the very last row. It was an aisle seat though, so I was not too mad about that. I will say,
aisle or wait, aisle or window guy.
I am typically a window guy, but on a long flight, I really do like an aisle because I hate being the person who's like, excuse me, can I get out to go pee? Just hate being that person, especially on a long flight. It's the person might be asleep. What am I going to wake them up?
No. Some people are out there waking people up.
I know. Yeah,
because I'm an aisle person, and I'm the person that's getting woken up.
Yep,
hitting you with a little elbow to the rib cage, being like, I gotta go.
Yeah, all right, I don't know you like that, buddy. I'm recording this podcast in sweats. I don't know why I didn't change before this. In sweats that have tequila soda all over one side because the young man sitting next to me was having a really nice time. So nice that he fell asleep with his drink in his hand and did not know where it was going at that point.
Tequila soda on the flight back. Some people are living dangerously.
After 3 little mini bottles of wine. So
What an
They were
interesting concoction.
putting in work. He apologized to me and was like, "This is my. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. This is my first time." And I was like, "First time what? Flying? Drinking? Spilling on strangers?"
I ever tell you about the guy that was sitting next to me on a flight once? He drank about 5 bottles of red wine, and then he brought out a bag of his own peanuts, shelled peanuts, and started eating them in between.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
I think that might be like the single worst plane snack.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like maybe even a little too much sometimes for like indoor sporting events. And this guy was doing it on a plane, in the economy seats.
Yeah, couldn't have gotten away with it on this plane because there was a peanut allergy, right? The flight attendants made everyone well aware of that.
And you think that's because of wokeness now that we have peanut allergies?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Like too many kids these days can't just deal with...
Kids didn't have one when I was growing up.
They definitely did for me.
They did.
They would always tell us stories like in elementary school about like some boyfriend who had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then he kissed this girl who had a deadly peanut allergy and she died. They would say that stuff to us all the time at lunch. So they'd be like, go to the peanut table, or stay away from the peanut free table. I can't remember which way they did it. Probably
right.
The latter, honestly.
Right. The peanut free table. Make all the allergic kids sit together in one little area and just so that everyone else can be like, haha.
Corral them all in one place and then drop them into the ocean, so that we can Darwinism.
Well, they're easier to bully all in one place that way. Drop them into the ocean, Jesus.
So you made it back, United States. How many hours of sleep are you working on?
I'm doing pretty well. The flight was not too early this morning. I'm working on a good 6-7 hours of sleep. I will say my body clock is like 5 hours ahead right now. We're recording this on Monday evening. I am mere hours from touching back down in New York. And so the pod might get a little weird, I will say, as this goes on.
Would you like just now that you're feeling loose and just a couple hours after this long trip, you want to start any feuds? Do you want to end any feuds? You want to come out as like pro John Boy?
I didn't see him there. I'm just saying, like, we have an international presence and they don't.
The guy's trying to co-opt cricket and he won't even go to the MLB London series.
Yeah, for real. You won't even leave your woke liberal enclave in New York City.
Did you see that we just got a DM from Jeff Passan?
Saying flat.
This is all staying in the pod, by the way.
Okay, this is good.
Great stuff. Incredible stuff.
Always appreciate kudos from Jeff Passan. Yeah, Francisco Lindor to the Oakland Athletics. I'm sure you saw.
Oh my God. A friend of mine sent me that tweet, and then he was like, "This definitely got me." And then I saw the follow up about Ohtani being suspended for life.
Yeah, and
I knew that would never happen. So
yeah,
okay. You went to the London series. I stayed here with designs on going to what I'm calling the Bank of America Derby, Yankees versus Dodgers. But the tickets were too expensive. I got priced out by my friends at Merrill Lynch. And so I didn't end up going. I just watched it on television.
Well, they're trying to grow the game. It's not just about you. Those bankers watch baseball too.
This is true. I was about to say one of us always has to be in America just to keep ourselves tied down to our roots, but that we've broken that rule. So
yeah, we have.
We've broken that rule. Like the good millennial Gen Z cusp that you are. You kept notes all week in your iPhone Notes app.
I did.
Just writing down random thoughts. So, in order to share with the listeners what the experience was like, in the only way that we know how here at Tipping Pitches, we are going to run through Alex's iPhone Notes, and we're going to splice across this episode a bunch of audio of Alex talking to strangers.
Yes, you were kind enough to receive the amalgamation of audio clips that I was just walking around the city, just holding my microphone in the air like a lunatic.
How did that feel? Was that bringing you back to the old days when we were in like a journalism school?
Yeah, it was bringing me back to a J school class. Yes, 100%.
I like how that in this analogy, I'm kind of like the professor.
Right, grading my work, saying, all right, what can we make out of this?
You need to ask more hard-hitting questions,
Yeah, well, we probably do. that you can hear in those clips. I start every single one of those interactions the same way. I'm like, hey, excuse me, guys. Hi, how's it going? I'm Alex.
I'm gonna make a supercut. I'm gonna make a supercut of the intros that you gave to people.
Okay, great.
I'll put that at the end of the episode. Okay,
don't cancel me for not saying hey y'all.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk through Alex's week in London, the MLB London series, a split. The Mets splitting with the best team in baseball. Look at that, Mets back? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? We'll see. But before we do all of that, I am Bobby Wagner,
and I am Alex Baisley.
And you are listening to Tipping Pitches.
I think the biggest thing that I learned, or maybe the biggest thing I will take away from.
Well, you're just diving right in. Look at you. You're just taking over hosting responsibilities.
Well, I was reflecting on it a little more and
just ripping the wheel away. Look at me. I pulled up the Patreon to do new patrons, and you're two steps ahead. Just go for it. I like it. I
love the word cheers. It's sometimes cute to like do it in an email, but like that's their sign off. That's their salutation. After you get the beer, after you order the food, a lot of the trip revolved around like eating and drinking. So it was mostly servers saying cheers to me,
cheers
which may have also related to what I was enjoying. But and then I started adopting it. I'd be like, oh yeah, thanks mate, cheers. And it was hard to like not do a little bit. Like I found myself accidentally doing some accent work in conversation and really had to like pull back.
Bro, they could get you into a cult easily. Like the fact that you're just modeling behavior just from a person saying something to you, like you would be in that cult.
I'm like, that's sick. That's cool.
I can't skip thanking the new patrons this week because we got a lot of them the last couple weeks because we reran a Patreon episode on the main feed last week because you were traveling to this year event. So thank you this week to our new patrons, Leah, Joel, Chelsea, Jeremy, Nick, Zoe, Brad, Russ, Maisie and Annie, CT, and Joseph.
Banner week.
Look at you. The look on your face. You didn't even know that we got all those new patrons. You haven't been following. You haven't. Too busy out in the field,
It's true. Yes.
All right.
I would check in with my editor every so often. Say, am I getting the right stuff? Should you push me in the right direction?
You want to bring cheers to the pod. Okay.
I'm bringing
Sign
cheers
off
to the pod
every week with cheers. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
What else? You went to the MLB London series. We've talked a lot about the MLB London series. We talked about it last year when it was an interesting diplomatic effort from the United States sending the Cubs and the Cardinals. Once again, an interesting diplomatic effort this year, sending the monstrosity known as the New York Mets. We talked about a lot about MLB's international expansion and their designs on international expansion and how much this is something clearly that the league wants, that they are trying to get the players on board with. A lot of talk about player ambassadors I saw online this past week. They brought out the finest they could possibly find, Daniel Murphy.
That's right.
And then obviously Chase Utley is sort of like the czar of UK baseball.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Take us through it. MLB London series through Alex's eyes.
It ruled. I want to be very clear. It was sick. Like we get on here, do this podcast every week, and spend most of the time complaining about the ills that have befallen the sport, whether it's creeping private equity, right, or the labor exploitation rife throughout the minor league landscape. It's easy to get pretty disillusioned, I would say, with the state of the game. And
I don't feel that way. I feel very illusioned. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Just saying now.
There's really nothing like a baseball game to pull you back in.
He played baseball in the UK for so many years, and I never went to watch. And I was like, what am I interested in? and we went to New York in 2018. And we went to Citi Fields to watch a Mets game, and it was absolutely freezing. It snowed the day before. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to sit out here. Here it's cold, it's horrible, it's miserable. The stadium was empty. The game started. Could not take my eyes off like the pitch. I loved it. I was just like, and that was it. I just fell in love with the sport there and then. And Mets was my team because that's what made me fall in love with the sport. And I've just
Get out there, and it kind of all just falls away. I'm like, damn. The sport rocks. It also the environment of it was really cool. I mean, so they were playing in like London Stadium, which was built for the 2012 Olympics. Now West Ham, the soccer team, plays there, and so it's like, it's a big stadium, and it's kind of unreal to be watching a baseball game with like 60,000 cheering fans, a middle of June baseball game.
That's what they took from us when they knocked down Shea Stadium.
Teams.
They used to pack 50,000 in there regularly.
Yeah. And it probably sucked. And it was probably amazing. And you created some lifelong memories. It was just, it was a really good vibe. And as you'll hear in some of these interview clips, I think like everyone, it definitely had a different tone than I think the maybe fatalistic tone that Americans can bring to baseball, specifically, say, throwing fan base names out there, like Mets fans, for example, right? People were
I wouldn't know anything about that.
People were far too positive about what they were about to witness. I'm so happy to be here. This is just great. I love, whether they were a lifelong baseball fan or they'd never watched an inning before, people were just jazzed about it.
First MLB game ever.
This is your first in-person MLB game?
Our first game.
Wow, congratulations. Well, welcome. I mean, do you like keep up with the teams like throughout the year? Do you watch them?
We text each other. We live in different cities and we text up each other. Well, how's the Mets played today? Oh, they lost. Oh, okay. The Cubs lost as well. Yeah. Oh, maybe tomorrow. There's so many games the year and the days, and it's quite interesting.
That's amazing. So, what are you guys most looking forward to for this series right now? Just seeing baseball in person?
Of course, and a game with a lot of action. We hope a lot is happening, and a good time. Have a good time.
What do you think that? And when I say people, I will note that is people inside the ballpark, because the handful of folks who I mentioned it to offhand throughout the week had no idea there was a baseball series going on. I assumed, I was like, the city's going to shut down. It's going to be everywhere. People are going to be buzzing about it. Not even close. Which I kind of respect them for, right? They're like, oh yeah, you have your little 2-game series over there. Have fun with that, chaps.
It's not like New York shuts down when they do the Dominican Winter League series here.
No, I know. I really don't know what this is my typical American imperialist perspective that assumes the world stops for us.
Right.
Because it often does.
So most of my direct questions that I have for you have to do with the type of people like that you ended up talking to, seeing, observing, meeting, because, well, number one, all the buzz was that Phillies fans showed up.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that the Mets fans did not travel well, and or London is a Phillies town.
Yeah. I think that the latter is probably true. They have a handful of Philly sports bars scattered, the Philly sports bars scattered around the city. The team showed up there on Friday night before the series kicked off on Saturdays. Huge power move. So it definitely felt like the city was leaning one way. But I will say there was Mets fans were out there. They were out in full force for sure. And that's not even to mention, I would say about half the people there were wearing, it was probably 40% Phillies, 30% Mets, and another 30% just kind of a smattering of baseball teams. What do you think the makeup of the crowd is here? Phillies versus Mets?
I think it's 50-50. When we come to other events, it's been mixed from every team all over America represented, but here it's very 50-50. We're not seeing much other teams, which is great. That's what we want, the right atmosphere,
Exactly.
we were trying to gauge how the spread between the Phillies and the Mets fans here today. It's pretty even, to be honest.
It is pretty even.
Yeah.
I thought there were going to be more Phillies fans. I mean, there are Philly bars here, right?
Oh, okay.
There are Phillies.
No, it's definitely been Philly. You see it yesterday on the TV. It's a Phillies stadium, isn't it? I mean, 1870 or something, the Phillies have been going from, haven't they? So they've changed their name 4 times, as most of them have that have been going that sort of time, when it was just the American League. And they've moved 3-4 times, but they've got a history to them. It's, so we're the young underdogs, and they're the old smart dogs, I suppose.
I loved, and I texted you this. I loved the Nick Hundley Mets jersey. Such a pull. That's like, you only wear that if that is your guy. That's your ride or die.
It made me feel sad that I didn't send you with my Ike Davis jersey.
I know. I think I would have gotten some kudos for that.
Yeah, you would have. Some clout.
Yeah.
Now, okay, hold on. I was just reminded of something.
Okay.
You decided to wear Philly stuff on Saturday and Mets stuff on Sunday. Take me through that decision. By the way, you did it backwards because the Mets were the home team on Saturday and the Phillies were the home team on Sunday. You just think of yourself as more of an away team guy?
I think of more of an away team guy, for sure. That's the kind of vibe I bring to the party.
Uh-huh.
And I definitely was aware who was the home and away team when I made those choices.
Uh-huh.
I was aware that each team was going to get a home day and away day.
Well, one team has to be the home team. That actually matters.
Yes, I know. Yeah, right. I found myself pondering that as we started. I was like, I wonder, are the Phillies just home both days? Huh. I guess we'll find out. I found out.
So, okay. Back to my question about the type of people that you talk to. What would you say the split was of travelers, tourists, people from the United States, either from Philly or New York or neither of those places, that went there for the occasion versus people who are from England coming out because this event is coming to them? At least in your anecdotal experience. I know the polls that you were running, all of the exit surveys that you had going, the big data, the Gallup polls, we're still collating that data. So we'll get back to people.
Right. But this is just a little snap analysis on my part as I look at the numbers.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy that's always like, I've seen enough. I'm calling this Dave. What's his last name?
Yeah.
That's you.
That's me.
So what was the breakdown?
A lot of European countries represented. Germany especially, pretty heavily represented.
Yeah. No one works over there. They're just like, oh, an event? Sure, I'll go.
Slandering a whole country and their people, and I'm here for it. I did speak with a lot of baseball fans who live in London or the greater sort of, England area. Folks who had traveled in from Manchester. I met, a couple, one of whom was American, one of whom was British. And where are you guys from?
Manchester, England.
All right. Okay, so you're decked out in full Phillies gear. Are you big baseball fans already? Is it? Okay, you got the Eagles tattoo.
Hell yeah.
Phanatic socks.
You name it.
You're locked.
4 for 4, man.
You're right, exactly. Well, how did that happen?
Wow, I mean,
just as a kid, I got into ice hockey as a
ago.
kid. Used to play ice hockey. Loved the Flyers. Don't know why. No idea. Just clicked, and then all in Philly. Ever since a kid. Yeah.
And it was the American who got the British one into baseball. And then I also met folks who were just there for the vibes.
Yeah, really good.
So what are you most looking forward to about this year?
Just the vibes. Oh, I hate saying the vibes. That sounds
It's
really
always the
cheesy.
atmosphere.
Right.
It's just the people. Everyone's really nice to one another. We're just chatting to some random
I feel like I'm
Dutch
at
people.
home as well, because
Yeah.
I live here, so it
Oh, you
feels
do? Okay.
it feels like home. It's just really nice.
That is very cool. Many of the Brits who I approached, I said, "Hey, I do a podcast. Can I ask you some questions?" Were very quick to point out they know.
And they like
next to
pepper sprayed you. They were like, podcast, get away from me.
Right, yeah, exactly. They were quick to note, I don't know anything about this sport. Don't ask me, don't expect any. And I was kind of like, honestly, we're probably operating off of a very similar knowledge bank about this sport, frankly, and what actually happens day to day. So it's fine.
Where are you guys from?
We're here from London.
Okay. So you said you're here for the experience. What drew you to...
We've always wanted to go to a baseball game and a basketball game in the US.
It's very cinematic, isn't it? Like you grow up seeing these things and it's like, from an experience, what is it? What is it all about?
We found out that it's here in London. We're literally 10 minutes away, so we thought it was a great opportunity to come and watch.
And those are some of my favorite people just to talk to and sort of say, how does this sort of vibe match up to a standard sort of British sporting event? What are you most looking forward to? What is the vibe that you're kind of getting from this whole scene? And like I said, people, I do think like Phillies fans lost a bit of their edge. Everyone was very nice, with the exception of kind of the broad booing of Mets players like during introductions.
Playing first base, number 20, Pete Alonso. Batting third, the left fielder, number 9, Brandon Nimmo. Batting fourth.
There was no razzing. There was no heckling. Even staying seated for both the Star Spangled Banner and God Save the Queen. No one batted an eye. I was a little disappointed, frankly. I was trying to bait the Brits into a heated discussion about whose national anthem is shittier, but no one took me up on it.
Now you go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You sit down in the bank. You try to sit down during the national anthem, not even wearing Mets gear, wearing an Ohtani jersey.
Yeah,
you're gonna get it stuck to you. That's for damn
right.
sure.
Although not to my face, I guess.
In a text message.
I technically won't even know I'm being razzed.
I actually think that is my favorite thing that's ever happened in my life.
I think so too.
So, okay, wait, you didn't even actually answer my question. My question was, what was the makeup? Was it more tourists or more Brits in your estimation?
I would say it was probably a pretty decent 50-50 split. Honestly, there were certainly a lot of American fans there, right? You had like the 7-Line Army who traveled from New York, right?
Boo, hiss, boo.
Yeah, there's our next rivalry.
We're not sending our fucking finest, okay? Sorry, I can't get distracted by this.
The sense that I got is that a lot of the Americans who were there for both games, because if you're going to fly, thousands of miles across the world, like you might as well catch both games. At that, you're already in for like $1,000. You might as well be in for more. And then you had, again, Brits, people from kind of around who were like, yeah, I just took the train in. I wanted to see what was going on. And I was like, that's a beautiful way to conduct your life and to watch. This is the perfect sport for that. To just like poke your head in, grab a pint, chat with the mates,
Sometimes I feel like it's quite a passive thing to watch. Like people are not necessarily always paying full attention to what's going on in the field, which is quite an interesting. I think it's a bit like cricket in that way. But it's nice. It's just like you chill out, relax, and just have a good time.
It's a great.
So broad takeaways: 50-50 split among tourists and people from England. Great time, big stadium.
Yeah.
How are the sight lines? Because I know that is a bit of a point of discussion on the MLB London series in the past. They're playing in a soccer stadium, not quite as naturally conducive to a baseball game, but it seemed to me, at least on television, weird watch on television, by the way, if we're going to talk about the flip side of the coin.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's no seats right behind home plate.
You're right. It's just like a black bar, right? Like,
yeah, it was a black bar with a Zoom ad. I was like, what the hell? It seemed like the whole series was presented by Zoom because the helmets also said Zoom on the side of them. Did you see any ads for AI? Any bespoke?
Not a single. I was really disappointed, frankly, in our brightest and best minds. But what it just suggests to me is that there's a market there that's untapped, and that maybe you and I could fill that void. AI leftist baseball podcast. Who says no?
AI Tipping Pitches hosts does play-by-play of the MLB London series next year.
Oh,
Start putting out those business feelers.
Well, it's not going to be in London next year. It's going to be.
Wait, this is not true. I saw you. I heard you say this. There is a London series next year.
Really?
I think so.
I got lied to then. Lied to.
Lied to by who?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they haven't announced it. I think they're probably going to do both. You're talking about the fact that that's rumored they're going to be doing a Paris series next year too.
That's correct.
I don't think they've decided.
Okay, well, that's sick. Actually, I feel even better that I was spreading disinformation the entire weekend.
Some journalists,
don't check in next year. Won't
you
be
told
here.
you told people that it's not going to be there next year.
No, only our good friend Steven from Batting Around, who you will hear me tell him live on the podcast that's coming out later this week. So
on our patreon.com/tippingpitches, where all of those other people signed up for our great content full of fucking lies.
That's right. I know.
Full of mistruths.
Yep. Falsehoods.
Misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Slander. That's the good stuff, though. That's what you come for. You come for the slander.
Exactly. Yeah, it was presented by Zoom, and their like whole tagline was like "Live the London series." Okay, I don't really know. I'm here already. Do you want me to do more?
So many companies have bad slogans, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? We need to open the schools, and by schools, I mean we need to open the marketing majors up and interrogate them. Like, what are you learning? It's not doing well. I have a take. Are you ready for the take?
God, I'm always ready.
The only company that markets well, Coca-Cola.
Okay.
I was at my parents' house. I was at my parents' house 2 weekends ago. I was looking through the shoe closet, for a baseball glove, and I discovered a hat from the 1980s that was given to my father as part of some promotional thing at the job that he was working. He has this hat. It's a Coca-Cola hat, and it's like it's a bottle of Coca-Cola embroidered onto a white hat with a red bill, and it just says "Enjoy Coca-Cola" in the Coca-Cola font. Done.
Perfect.
W.
All you need.
W. I wear it all around Brooklyn now. And
You're
you know what?
Advertisement.
I am. And I'm fine with it. Because Coca-Cola is a great product. We used to build things in America. We used to make recipes, and those recipes used to be enjoyed by millions.
Mm-hmm.
Did the sugar lobby cause an American obesity crisis? Yes. Is a Coca-Cola delicious soda that will improve your life and the thing that you're doing? Also, yes.
I love it because I feel like you're not really like a soda guy. Like you love your like sparkling water, but I try not to
drink too much soda, honestly.
Right, but I appreciate that you can see a product, even if it's not a product that you actively consume, and say that's a good product right there.
I've been consuming it more and more though.
Interesting.
Since I've given up alcohol,
right?
Potentially forever. I'm like, I gotta get something. I need a new vice. I'm also cutting back on caffeine, so like I know Coke has caffeine, but not as much as a double espresso.
Right.
And when I go into a movie theater, you know what goes perfectly with a movie? A bottled Coke, and popcorn, salt, sweet, fizzy, texture. Come on, that's money right there.
Yeah,
how did we get on
thing
this?
That makes you believe we'll make it. Yeah.
It also might arguably make me think that every movie that I see is the best movie ever made. Like another 5-star masterpiece, Bad Boys 4. Okay, let's go through your notes app.
All right.
Alex's takeaways. Alex's diary?
Yeah, my diary. Some of them are not fully formed thoughts. Others are a little more extensive. So we'll kind of rapid fire through some of them.
Any musings on dreams in there?
On dreams, on like my just personal what I was dreaming about over there.
Yeah, if it's your diary, like what's in there?
Well, I was mostly the Phillie Phanatic, frankly, but I keep that in a separate journal.
We haven't even discussed you holding hands with the Phillie Phanatic. That doesn't faze me because the Phillie Phanatic was kind of like always around my childhood. Like the Phillie Phanatic came to my elementary school every year. Like this guy, me and him, we go way back.
like on career day, it was like you can be an electrician, you can be a carpenter, or you can be the Phillie Phanatic.
Right, pretty much. It wasn't on career day because we didn't have career day in elementary school, but
You weren't thinking about your 401k then?
no, I think they would just send him just once a year just to have the kids lose their shit.
Yeah.
And me be like, flipping them off.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally wearing a full Mike Piazza uniform, pants, cleats, jersey hat.
Cleats. Saying, see me out there. See
Right.
me out there, Fanatic.
I'll take you 450 to dead center, Mr. Fanatic. All right. Take me through the note.
Yeah, let's do it. The first note I made is that the stadium urinals were like trough chic.
Ooh.
And what I mean by that is like they were, and I will note that this is these were in the men's restrooms. As an Oakland A's fan, I grew up knowing and loving the metal troughs at the Oakland Coliseum.
Notable that you call yourself an Oakland A's fan and not a Phillies fan. Notable.
That's it. Yes, it is true. Yeah. The urinals were like, they were ceramic, but they were all also kind of joined together. Like there were allusions to them being split, but you were also just like cheek to cheek with the guys next to you.
Cheek to cheek.
I mean, maybe everyone else wasn't, but I was.
I would think it would be more hip to hip, but you do it however you want to do it.
So they were splitting the difference a little bit. They were elevating it.
Right.
It still had that gritty grassroots feeling, of peeing in a trough.
Yeah, it's like when you put nice wheels and tires on like an old Honda Civic.
Exactly. Yes. So I wanted to call that out because that was my biggest takeaway, obviously.
Okay. That reminds
First
me of
thing
the
I wrote
time
down.
that we were at the Brooklyn Cyclones Stadium and we were after the game, this was after the Tipping Pitches meetup, and we stopped by the restroom and we were both standing next to each other at the urinals peeing, and I pulled out my phone to take a selfie of us. And then a man also walked in at that same time, so it looked like I was trying to get a selfie with that guy, with the stranger. And I have that selfie, and it's like so blurry, and we're like not even actually ready to take it because I didn't want the stranger to
Caught
think
us
I was
off
trying to
guard.
photograph him.
Right. Of course. I think if you'd explained what was going on, he would have consented.
What was going on, and that I just wanted to capture this moment with my friend.
Right. Exactly. And he's a part of that moment.
There's a long
Forever in Tipping Pitches lore.
storied history of us taking photos together at baseball stadium bathrooms. You, me, and the hamburger on the ground at Nats Park. Come on, this is great stuff. This is the great work, Alex. This is what we're put here for.
Yeah,
to document. All right, what's next?
They had mascot races both days. The taking part was Freddie Mercury,
the mascot of
heard of him,
the stadium,
Rolling Stones. Right.
Okay. I'm confused as to how that's a mascot, but we can.
Well, I guess not a. I don't know. There's like it's like the Nationals have the presidents. Sure, it's not a mascot. What the fuck else are you gonna call it?
Who else was part of the mascot race?
We also had a king. I don't know which one. King George the 8th. Does that sound right?
Sure.
A member of the Royal Guard with their big hats. By the way, I just want to say I went to Buckingham Palace. Not a single member of the Royal Guard in sight.
Really?
It's like, why did I come all that way?
Maybe the king wasn't there. Maybe he was somewhere else. Royal Guard doesn't need to be there. The king's not there. No one to guard.
Maybe at Passyunk Avenue?
You think King Charles was at Passyunk Avenue?
Yeah, it's possible.
King Charles, what do you think of Kyle Schwarber's OPS this year?
And the final participant was one Winston Churchill himself, who I will note lost miserably in both races, which I kind of had to appreciate. I don't know who won, but that felt like a win to me.
Justice served.
There were a lot of gestures to sustainability, like that you don't really see at Major League Baseball parks, and I think that maybe is true of London and or maybe even Europe writ large, that they have a different approach and oftentimes a better approach. For example, not a single paper towel in sight in any bathroom, right? It's all the like blow dryers, which like your mileage may vary on how sanitary it is, and also like if you're just displacing like tree waste to like electricity usage, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. All the food items had like little sustainability grades next to them, so it's like based on like the emissions.
Oh wow.
So it was like, this is an A, this is a D, this is an E. Did it impact my buying choices? No, I didn't base the purchase.
What did you
off the
eat?
grade. I'm so glad you asked that, Bobby.
Well, I saw you post a photo of some unseemly looking items, frankly.
Yeah, and I didn't touch any of those. The Philly cheesesteak, the Polish boy. You're familiar with the famous sandwich, the Polish boy.
Classic Philadelphia sandwich.
Yeah. So I did not touch any of those, but I did opt for their American dog.
Okay.
And I ordered it, and it had it was like a bratwurst. It had like crispy fried onions on it, coleslaw, and mustard. Which it said it came with mustard and not coleslaw, but they served coleslaw, and then I added mustard myself. I don't know. I was a little flustered up there, and then the man behind me was like, "That's not an American dog. That's a Welsh dog." And I'm like, "Am I being punked right now?" And I searched Welsh dog, and all you just get is like pictures of like corgis and stuff.
Great.
Which I'm not mad about, but it didn't really help decipher that man's comment to me.
Speaking of searching, heard the Wi-Fi was good.
Wi-Fi was next level.
That's insane. What we're lagging behind here.
We really
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it was so good. I couldn't communicate without it. Like it simply service would not work. But the Wi-Fi was banging. MLB teams take note. I bought a quart of beer or something to that effect. I didn't really know what I was buying, but they were like, "Do you want a small or a large beer?" And it was the 8th inning. And I said, "A large, I suppose." And it was large. It looked like one of those little like plastic containers that like kitchens keep like large quantities of like sauce or soup in, or like on like the Bear, what they drink water out of.
Yeah.
So I had an inning to do what I could with that. This thing that was about the size of my head.
Bear season 3, 17 days away. Get your Hulu subscriptions back in line, everyone. This ad brought to you by this podcast brought to you by FX.
That's right.
And Coca-Cola. What kind of beer did you drink? Did you have any Guinness?
I had a Guinness, not at the game,
W.
but in my prior travels. Quite good, quite delicious. Good product. Big products episode here. I hope the listeners are keeping note.
We are the number one.
The Bear.
We are the number one anti-capitalist, products-oriented baseball shitposting podcast.
AI powered.
AI powered.
You forgot.
And I would like to see someone come for our throne. I challenge someone to do this better than us. I
challenge someone to remember what you even just said. So
I challenge you to remember what I just said.
Exactly. Yeah, the public transit there is sick.
Yeah.
It's cool. Steven and I talk about that a little bit on the bonus episode coming on the Patreon later this week. But like, man, what a thing to radicalize you about how things could be.
Please do ensure that all of your possessions are now clear of the doors. We are getting ready to depart. Stand back, stand clear. Mind the closing doors, please. Train is ready to go. Mind the doors.
Except for
him more than you. He lives in Philly. You live in New York.
Well, yes, right, yes, exactly. But I would say the tube works better than the MTA.
It does.
Here.
Yeah, and it's not
Comes
far
more
such a political football.
It's not a political football. It's just generally cleaner. There was a sign there that was like, "Hey, if your train is delayed more than like 5 minutes, reach out and we'll refund you." And like, do I ever want to do that? No.
That actually makes
the
me
bureaucracy of that seems like a nightmare, but I love it.
I like to imagine you reaching out, and on the other end of the line, it's Rishi Sunak, and he's just like, "Alex, thank you for reaching out.
I hear you had a bad experience today on your way to Stratford."
Frankly, it's disappointing to me how little British accent you've done on this episode, given that you just had 10 days to work on it. What was it all for? What did we spend all that money for?
I know. I toyed with just doing the whole episode in it.
That would have been a worthwhile expenditure if it got you to do the whole episode in British accent.
Okay, that's good.
All right, what's next?
Well, the last thing I'll say on public transit is it was really good, except for at the stadium itself, where they made you walk just on a highway that appeared to be closed from the station to the stadium, which is an enjoyable experience.
It is still the MLB London series, you know.
That's
it
right.
wouldn't be
They were
MLB without a couple highways.
That's right. Yeah, the Robert Moses effect.
Goated.
I don't know, man. I will say I met up with listener Owen.
Nice.
Shouts out to Owen. Bought me beer. We sat and chatted about his eventful year with some wonderful life milestones. Yeah, shouts out Owen. I had a great time chatting with him. And it was good to connect with our listeners.
Owen
across
is
the pond.
Owen is the purveyor of the Tipping Pitches fan survey every year.
Yep.
Gathering information about what the Tipping Pitches community prioritizes. Most of the time, what Tipping Pitches prioritizes is ogling attractive baseball players. And Owen has chronicled that with data over the years. So thank you for all of your hard work, Owen. Great to hear that you guys met up. That's so exciting.
Yes, I was ships in the night with our friends Bat Flips and Nerds, who I really regret not meeting up with. They were doing some really amazing content, and I encourage y'all to go and listen. They've done some recap pods, and they got some really cool interviews. So go check out their feed, and give them a listen. They're good blokes.
Did you or did you not lay eyes on Robert D. Manfred?
I did not. And I actually heard afterwards, I was reading this last night, that Steve Cohen was there on Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know this. I know he was talking about...
Once again, this might be round 2 of disinformation. So
he was giving interviews. He did give interviews about how London has better food than New York. Did you see this?
That's not true.
I
didn't see that.
They were not happy with that one.
Why would you open yourself up to that?
I saw someone saying like Flushing alone has better food than all of most of Europe,
literally.
London included. I don't know, because he's Steve Cohen. You know,
I know.
Cancel him if you dare.
He saw the spotlight drifting away from him, and he was like, "Not so fast."
All right,
David
what
Rubenstein.
else is on the list?
I don't know, man. The merch was lame. If I had seen that crossover Philly Mets like polo or whatever collared shirt in the wild, I would have bought it on site.
Yeah, since that's you basically.
Right, pretty much. You just worn the same thing both days.
I know what you wore on the first day, which was you were heavy slimed out basically.
I was yeah,
shirt and hat, right?
Actually, I don't think the shirt is heavy slime.
Which I don't remember what shirt it was, but the heavy slime hat is the nicest thing that either of us own, and I'm so fucking mad about it because I love it so much, and I'm glad I bought it for you, but also it's so cool, and I wish I could wear something that looked like that.
You're right. Yes. Well, we'll work on it. The gauntlet has been thrown to the Mets brands out there. Come up with a sick corduroy Mets hat.
With it important to make it look goth in some way.
Yeah, right.
That's important to me personally.
Yeah.
What Mets stuff did you wear? Did you wear any Tipping Pitches merch?
Well, so I will say, I guess we can back up a little bit. At Trafalgar Square on Friday, they were doing like a fan fest the whole weekend. Where they had like batting cages and like a virtual home run derby and stuff. It was like mostly all really kind of boring.
Did you attend the Chase Utley Daniel Murphy home run derby?
I didn't actually.
Oh my God.
I know. Falling down on the job. But Steven filled me in. I hear it was not riveting. Hilarious concept overall.
Pop-up home run derby? Yeah. A very funny concept.
But I wore my A's Sell the Team shirt when I went there on Friday. And did get a few shout outs. Did have some folks ask me what team they wanted to be sold. And I was like, I think it seems obvious. But that's okay. No judgment here. And then on Sunday, what did I do? Oh, Sunday I did nationalized baseball, our little Orioles long sleeve shirt, and then threw my Lindor jersey over it. So we got some tipping pitches representation out there. I was disappointed by the lack of representation among other fans with tipping pitches merch, although it did occur to me that we literally do not ship our merch there.
You should have went with like a chest's worth of tipping pitches merch and just thrown it into Trafalgar Square with all this other people. Just giving it away for free.
Come equipped with my own t-shirt gun and just start blasting them out. Be like, Phillie Phanatic, this one's for the lady 4 years ago.
Customs is like, what is this, sir?
Yeah, right.
This looks like a weapon. And you're like, no, I promise. I'm just going to shoot t-shirts, not anything more dangerous.
Exactly. And then, as you mentioned earlier, the Phillie Phanatic refused to take a selfie with me.
Do you think that's because you were wearing Met stuff, or did he just seem like he had a different mission?
I think he was on a mission. I approached him, but I was very giddy. I said, probably said, "Excuse me, Mr. Phanatic, do you have time for a selfie?" That was my John Fisher approach, and it worked there. And the hired goons that were following the Phanatic around said, "No, he's in a rush. No time. But it didn't stop me, obviously. I was like, well, I'm going to document this moment, however it goes down, whatever happens from here on out. I need photographic evidence. And so it was not clear to me if the Phanatic was trying to bat my hand away or like keep me at arm's length, or if it was just like, I can't stop for a photo, but I will hold the closest extremity of yours. And so I do have a lovely photo of me and the Phillie Phanatic holding hands. I'm actually getting prints of it done so I can hang it in each of the rooms in my house, in the office as well.
We should get it. Yeah, we should get a print of that for the studio.
Yeah.
I hung up my Abbey Road Studios sign.
Oh, hell yes.
Already, so. While you were gone, I hung up the Dodgers photos too.
Oh man. Whole new studio to come back to.
Yeah, exactly. I love the visual. Love the visual of you trying to get a selfie with the Phillie Phanatic, and he's like the fucking Pope. You know, he's like on the Pope mobile, still moving, and they can't possibly stop for you.
Right, exactly. Secret Service is like keep it moving.
Right, or you're like a reporter trying to ask a question to John Fetterman, and he's just like running away.
Well, what I later learned is I think he was on his way to serve tea to like the TV broadcast booth.
Oh,
I saw them tweet out a clip
I saw
about that.
I saw that on TV. I watched that. So you touched the Phanatic right before that?
Right before. So you could say I touched the tea that was going. I don't know who were the broadcasters.
This was on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
That was the ESPN broadcast. So it was your fucking boy Michael K.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So by the transitive property, I touched Michael K's tea.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So if
I'd known that, I probably would have done something more malicious.
Parody.
Can
we talk about the end of the game on Sunday, by the way? The Saturday game,
yes.
Not very good. Not a very good game.
Not a great hang.
The Mets suck. The Sunday game, however, was a little bit better of a game. Some back and forth, some home runs, a little go-ahead hit by pitch. The Mets way, I like to call it.
Yeah.
That last play, what an exhilarating way to end a baseball game. Luis Torrens. What?
Just like we wrote it out.
Draft him into the Mets Hall of Fame. We just put in Darryl Strawberry. Let's get Torrens in there now. A 2-3 double play to end the London series. What a cool play. What a bullshit dirty slide by Garrett Stubbs. Fuck that. Fuck that guy. That's a slide that happens when Chase Utley is around.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see that my man Torrens is all right. Although I don't know, he could have a broken leg and they just haven't announced it yet.
It's okay. This is a disinformation pod.
David Stern's masterclass signing Torrens. I don't know what to tell you. I'm back in on Stearns. Any other things to share from the MLB London series before we wrap it up and get out of here? By the way, I know you've alluded to it a couple times. Later this week on the Patreon feed, we will be hosting a conversation. I know I put it on Twitter as well. We'll be hosting a conversation with Stephen from Batting Around, talking about your guys' experience there. It's just like a chat between you two.
Yeah,
bonus content. It'll be on our Patreon as well as Batting Around's Patreon. And if you don't know anything about Batting Around, I suggest you head back into our archives and look for the dumbest things of 2023 or 2022 or 2021. Our
and
collaboration.
Also how?
Yeah, right.
Like if you know about us and not them.
Right. It seems
What
unlikely.
spheres are you occupying?
It seems unlikely. However, it's just worth saying.
Of course.
Those are our pals. And it's fun to I love the idea of a crossover, but it's just one person from each pod. You know?
Yeah. I know. You and Lauren are up next, I guess.
I guess so. Although Lauren has been dishing it out to the Mets this year. And it's cutting deep. So I didn't make them this way. And I didn't make the other Mets fans this way either, by the way. I'm just trying to be a guy in the world. I didn't choose that my mother was born on Long Island. I didn't choose it. It was handed to me.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that bonus episode. We recorded it on the Sunday morning, and so it was just kind of some before the second game. So it was some instant reacts to what we'd experienced, and it was just great to hang with him again, a person I know, I think quite well, and who I've never met in person until this past week. And his mother's lovely as well. So,
his mom was there too. Oh my god,
yeah,
incredible FOMO for me.
Oh.
That's all right. We can all meet up at the Neshaminy Mall at some point in the not too distant future.
There you go. That's it. That's all I got.
Would you like to bring us home
success
with your best British accent? Because you did it on the pod before this, and so now people will see if it improved at all.
Right. The thing about the British accents is they're so regionally specific, and my ear is not trained to pick up on that. So I'll slide in and out between British. They're regional dialects. I don't even Cockney. That's one.
I'm just letting you dig.
I know. Yeah. Irish. That's another one.
Irish is tough.
But one that I do accidentally when I'm trying to do British.
Take us home. Tell the people cheers.
Well, blimey, mate. Had a smashing good time at the London series this past week.
That's right.
Absolutely bloody lovely. They did quite a proper job of putting on a baseball game.
And thank you for listening.
Cheers to all our lovely, smashing good listeners out there.
I think that was the second smashing.
I think so. I'm sorry.
Holy shit. That
This
was
is my
so great.
soundboard. It has very limited range.
Well, thank you all for all of your diligent work in relaying the vision, the Tipping Pitches vision of MLB London. And thank you everybody for listening. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope that if you're interested in checking out that bonus conversation with Stephen from Batting Around, you check out our Patreon, patreon.com/tippingpitches. I think next week we'll just be back to our regularly scheduled programming, unless you want to talk about flying to a different European city and maybe watching 2 baseball games there, even if they're not being exhibited there.
I can do it.
And chatting about it. Yeah. We just keep sending you around.
I'm our foreign correspondent now.
There are worse gigs. You're like Eric Adams. You're going around looking for you're scouting for MLB as to where they should do the next one.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've always said that New York is the London of the US. Right. So I'm happy to be
New York is the London of the Mid-Atlantic. And with that, thank you for listening, everybody. We will be back next week.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping Pitches.
Tipping Pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping Pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!
How you doing? My name is Alex.
I'm Dave.
I do a baseball podcast called Tipping Pitches. Can I ask you guys a couple questions? Excuse me, guys.
Sorry.
How's it going?
All right.
My name's Alex.
Hey, okay.
I do a baseball podcast.
Oh, wow.
Can I ask you guys a couple questions? Excuse me, guys.
Oh, yeah.
How's it going?
You on the boat? You're
My name is Alex.
Hey, Alex.
I do a baseball podcast.
Oh, do you?
Can I ask you guys a couple?
Gosh, I'm more of an NFL fan, but we can give it a go.
That's okay. Hey. My name is Alex.
Nice to meet you, Alex. Stuart.
Nice to meet you. Stuart?
Stuart,
It's
yeah.
lovely to meet you. I do a baseball podcast. We talk about the game, things going on. I'm from New York. Can I ask you a couple questions?
You can, but I am not an oracle. I am almost a first-time fan.
Okay, that's
so I know a little.
Excuse me, guys. Hi, my name is Alex. I do like a baseball podcast, and I'm just chatting with fans.
We're
That's-
just here for the experience.
That's okay. Can I chat with you guys for just a minute? Hi there. My name is Alex. I do a baseball podcast, so I'm just kind of chatting with folks here. Can I chat with you?
Of course you can, yeah, absolutely.
What are your names?